This is a Bishop of Oxford Dahlia. It's a lovely one for late summer, early autumn. It's got this gorgeous bright orange colour with a striking centre. Lots of lovely detail. It's got 8 petals on it and they sort of overlap each other. For the petals I used Pro Gel Orange. The brown is Pro Gel Dark Brown. And this yellow was Colour Splash Lemon with just a little touch of Colour Splash Sunflower to tone it down a bit. The piping tips I'm using for the orange, I've got some in a bag here and I've just snipped off about 5mm off the end of a bag because I want to make a lip so the petals stand up a little bit. I've just got a 104 here. I'm using the base of it to mark out my centre. For the petals, I'm using a GG 105. It's this medium long, thin piping tip all the way along the edge. Long end is always at the bottom and the thin end is what creates the edges of your petals. For the centre, I've just snipped off about 1mm or so off the end of a piping bag. If you want to use a piping tip, you could use a number 3 or a number 2 round. And then for the stamen in the middle, I'm using a number 2 round piping tip. If you want them to be even finer, you could use a number 1 or a 0. So the first thing I'm going to do, crumb coated my cupcake, and I'm just going to mark out the middle. So I'm going to take up this piping tip, pop it where I think looks about central, and just make a little marker for my middle. Then I want to put a lip around the edge of the cupcake. So take up your buttercream and just snip about 5mm off the end of the bag. Have it nice and tight as normal so you've got full control over it. And I'm just going to touch down on the edge of the cupcake and pipe all the way around the edge. So that I'm forming a lip for the petals to sit up on. Like that. Doesn't have to be super neat and tidy, just go around the edge. Now take up the GG 105, add all your buttercream down to the bottom and make sure your bag's nice and tight and that you've got that long part at the bottom. So this is on the outside edge. Now there's 8 petals and I want to space them evenly around. And I'm going to make them teardrop shape. So I'm going to finish where I start. I'm going to turn my wrist to do it. So I'm going to turn my wrist slightly, come up, pipe a petal, back round to where I started. Now I'm going to put one in opposite that one. These first petals that you put on can be a bit frilly, but don't worry about it, because the next layer they'll be a bit more stable because they'll have something to sit on. So I put those 2 on and now I'm going to put 2 here. So again I'm going to turn my wrist, pipe a teardrop shape, stop and come off, and then the other side opposite to that. Pipe a petal, stop and come off. Now I'm going to put the ones in between them. So just come around. Do the opposite side, so a little teardrop. And then these 2 here. Stop. Come off. So just touch down, turn your wrist slightly, touch down, make a teardrop, stop and come off. Now I'm going to put another layer on. Make sure your bag's nice and tight, so if it needs tightening up, put your cake down, give it a little tighten. Wipe that bit off. Have your piece of paper towel handy as well. So now I'm going to do exactly the same thing but over the top. So I'll start here. I'm going to go over the top of that petal, make a teardrop shape, stop, come off. Now the opposite side. Now the two center ones. Opposite that. So you get this nice bit of texturing going on. And then you can come in and do these ones in the middle. So you can go around and just miss a petal out. Put that one on. Like that. So there's your petals on. For the centre, I'm taking up my brown here. I've just snipped off, as I say, 1 or 2 millimeters off the end of the piping bag. Have your bag nice and tight so you've got full control. I'm just going to come right down in the centre of my marker and squeeze out a nice big blob. So just hold the piping bag still. Squeeze out a blob and then stop and come off, and around that little blob I'm going to touch down, squeeze and lift and come all the way around it, just making some of these dark brown stamen, and I'm making them a bit taller than the blob, so I'm giving it eyelashes. Gives a nice bit of detail to the middle, and we can mix in some yellow ones. So you see I'm leaving a little bit of a gap in between each one. They're not right next to each other. And now I'm going to pop in some yellow ones in between those gaps. So I've got my tiny little number 2 round, nice tight bag. Just touch down and squeeze and lift between each of those little brown ones. Turn the cake any angle you need to be able to see. It's just easier to get in there with your little yellow ones when you do it like this. If you want to put all your brown ones on first and poke your piping tip in between them, you can. Now I'm going to put another layer of brown around. So I'm just touching down, squeeze, lift, stop, come off. If you get a little straggly bit, you can just wipe it off. It just means that the buttercream didn't quite touch down on the cake when you started to lift. There, you can pop another row in if you like, or maybe just dot some in any gaps. And they're all different lengths. I'm not making them all the same height, or I'm not trying to anyway. I'm just really random. And then with the yellow, make sure your bag's nice and tight, and I'm just going to put a couple of layers of little stamen around these brown. So just touch down and pull up. Gives them that really striking centre. I love these flowers and these colours from when we're just coming into autumn, because it's my favourite time of the year. I get so excited when the oranges and yellows come out. It just makes me think of wearing a jumper and eating a bowl of soup. How bad. This one row. Now I'm just going to bend the cake towards me a little bit so I can get right in the bottom there. Put in another row. And this obviously covers up your petal edges as well, so it neatens everything off. And again, they don't all have to be the same height. Just gentle little squeezes as you lift, so they're nice and delicate. They're really striking in bouquets, and they look great in little boxes with maybe like little sunflowers. There. So there you go. There is a lovely Bishop of Oxford Dahlia.